Hello, this is Christy Schaefer, and welcome to the Attitude of Altitude. You know, it's that time of the year when we see a lot of costumes, and it's so much fun to dress up and pretend to be somebody else who you aren't. And we also see lots of masks that help to disguise us as well. Do you remember the musical, The Phantom of the Opera? The Phantom, he also wore this classic mask. He really wasn't a ghost, he was a real person. And he had some facial deformities, and so he wore this mask to hide those things. And he was obviously known for being the Phantom of the Opera. But sometimes we use masks in our daily life. I mean, think about it. How many times are you in a really bad mood, you're just feeling, just so miserable, and somebody comes up and asks you, "So how are you doing?" And you put on a smile and you say, "Oh, I'm great." Or my favorite one, "I'm fine." How often do we do that? But there's many times in which we wear these masks in our life, and it's the fear that we have that has created these masks. Many times it's the fear of really not wanting somebody to see who we really are for fear of rejection. I think that fear of rejection is a very common fear that so many of us face at one time or another. My question is, are you feeding that fear with the negative words that you say to yourself? Are you telling yourself, "I'm bad at this, I'm no good, no one's gonna like me"? Well, if that's you, stop. Stop saying those things to yourself. I want to remind you that you are uniquely made by God and that there is nobody who's exactly like you. And we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. And the great thing about life is that we can continue to learn and grow and make improvements. And you know what? We never arrive. We are always in progress. And so I think that's something to keep in mind. I would also encourage you that if you're struggling with this fear of rejection and it's holding you back, I would encourage you to take that risk and to take an action and maybe even do what you're afraid of doing. You might be surprised at the results that you get in return. You know, I'm a real estate agent, and in my profession, I knock on strangers' doors. And I don't get to say trick or treat, but usually I will have a neighborhood in which I do that, and I bring them information on what's happening in real estate in their neighborhood or in the general market or a football schedule or something that I think that they might really appreciate. And I remember this one time I was knocking on the door, no one answered, and so I left my little flyer. And by the time I had walked across the street, the man had come outside of his door, and he made a point to yell at me across the street and use some not so pretty language and told me that I am never to leave a flyer at his house or much less step on his property. And so I can just tell you, I didn't feel very good after that. And I was tempted to go run back to my car and just leave and forget that whole idea. But instead, I knocked at another door, and there was this sweet lady that answered the door. And she went on to tell me, "Thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you bring to me. And you know, you are one of the hardest working real estate agents that I have ever met. And if I ever decide to sell, you're my gal." You know, if I had stopped, I would have missed that opportunity. And sometimes we let fear keep us from all kinds of opportunities that we have in our life. I want to encourage you, be courageous, be authentic, take that risk. Don't let fear pull you down, but with your attitude put into action, may that lift you up. And may you have an attitude of altitude kind of day. Thanks so much. I'll see you next week.